Welcome to 144,000 teachers, the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. Day number 8, agenda on the addictions natural cleansing program. Before doing so, we would like to read from Ministry of Healing, chapter 11, Working for the Intemperate. Every true reform has its place in the work of the gospel and tend to the uplifting of the soul to a new and nobler life. Especially does the temperance reform demand the support of Christian workers. They should call attention to this work and make it a living issue. Everywhere they should present the people the principles of true temperance and call for the signers to the temperance pledge. Earnest effort should be made in behalf of those who are in bondage to evil habits. There is everywhere a work to be done for those who through intemperance have fallen. In the midst of churches, religious institutions, and professedly Christian homes, many of the youth are choosing the path to destruction. Through intemperate habits, they bring upon themselves disease, and through greed to obtain money for sinful indulgence, they fall into dishonest practices. Health and character are ruined. Aliens from God, outcasts from society, these poor souls feel that they are without hope either for this life or for the life to come. The hearts of the parents are broken. Men speak of these erring ones as hopeless, but not so does God regard them. He understands all the circumstances that have made them what they are, and he looks upon them with pity. This is a class that demand help. Never give them occasion to say, "No man cares for my soul." Among the victims of intemperance are men of all classes and all professions, men of high station, of eminent talents, of great attainments, have yielded to the indulgence of appetite until they are helpless to resist temptation. Some of them who were once in the possession of wealth are without home, without friends, in suffering, misery, disease, and degradation. They have lost their self-control. Unless a helping hand is held out to them, they will sink lower and lower. With these, self-indulgence is not only a moral sin, but a physical disease. Often in helping the intemperate, we must, as Christ so often did, give first attention to their physical condition. They need wholesome, unstimulating food and drink, clean clothing, opportunity to secure physical cleanliness. They need to be surrounded with an atmosphere of helpful, uplifting Christian influence. In every city, a place should be provided where the slaves of evil habit may receive help to break the chains that bind them. Strong drink is regarded by many as the only solace in trouble, but this need not be if instead of acting the part of the priest and Levite, professed Christians would follow the example of the Good Samaritan. In dealing with the victims of intemperance, we must remember that we are not dealing with sane men, but with those who for the time being are under the power of a demon. Be patient and forbearing. Think not of the repulsive, forbidding appearance, but of the precious life that Christ died to redeem. As the drunkard awakens to a sense of his degradation, do all in your power to show that you are his friend. Speak no word of censure. Let not act or look express reproach or aversion. Very likely the poor soul curses himself. Help him to rise. Speak words that will encourage faith. Seek to strengthen every good trait in his character. Teach him how to reach upward. Show him that it is possible for him to live so as to win the respect of his fellow man. Help him to see the value of the talent which God has given him, but which he has neglected to improve. Although the will has been depraved and weakened, there is hope for him in Christ. He will awaken in the heart higher impulses and holier desires. Encourage him to lay hold of the hope set before him in the gospel. Open the Bible before the tempted, struggling one, and over again read to him the promises of God. These promises will be to him as the leaves of the tree of life. Patiently continue your efforts until with grateful joy the trembling hand grasps the hope of redemption through Christ. You must hold fast to those whom you are trying to help, else victory will never be yours. They will be continually tempted to evil. Again and again, they will almost be overcome by the craving for strong drink. Again and again they may fall, but do not because of this cease your efforts. They have decided to make an effort to live for Christ, but their willpower is weakened, and they must be carefully guarded by those who watch for souls as they that must give an account. They have lost their manhood, and this they must win back. Many have to battle against strong hereditary tendencies to evil, unnatural cravings, sensual impulses were their inheritance from birth. These must be carefully guarded against. Within and without, good and evil are striving for the mastery. Those who have never passed through such an experience cannot know the almost overmastering power of appetite or the fierceness of the conflict between habits of self-indulgence and the determination to be temperate in all things. Over and over again, the battle must be fought. Many who are drawn to Christ will not have moral courage to continue the warfare against appetite and passion. But the worker must not be discouraged by this. Is it only those rescued from the lowest death that backslide? Remember that you do not work alone. Ministering angels unite in service with every true-hearted son and daughter of God, and Christ is the restorer. The great physician himself stands beside his faithful worker, saying to the repentant soul, "Child, thy sins be forgiven thee." Many are the outcasts who will grasp the hope set before them in the gospel and will enter the kingdom of heaven, while others who were blessed with great opportunities and great light, which they did not improve, will be left in utter darkness. The victims of evil habits must be aroused to the necessity of making an effort for themselves. Others may put forth the most earnest endeavor to uplift them. The grace of God may be freely offered. Christ may entreat, his angel may minister, but all will be in vain unless they themselves are roused to fight the battle in their own behalf. The last words of David to Solomon, then a young man, soon to receive the crown of Israel, were, "Be strong and show thyself a man." To every child of humanity, the candidate for an immortal crown are these words of inspiration spoken: "Be strong and show thyself a man," or a woman. The self-indulgent must be led to see and feel that great moral renovation is necessary if they would be men. God calls upon them to arouse, and in the strength of Christ, win back the God-given manhood that has been sacrificed through sinful indulgence. Feeling the terrible power of temptation, the drawing of desire that leads to indulgence, many a man cries in despair, "I cannot resist evil." Tell him that he can, that he must resist. He may have been overcome again and again, but it need not be always thus. He is weak in moral power, controlled by the habits of a life of sin. His promises and resolution are like ropes of sand. The knowledge of his broken promises and forfeited pledges weakens his confidence in his own sincerity and causes him to feel that God cannot accept him or work with his efforts. But he need not despair. Those who put their trust in Christ are not to be enslaved by any hereditary or cultivated habit or tendency. Instead of being held in bondage to the lower nature, they are to rule every appetite and passion. God has not left us to battle with evil in our own finite strength. Whatever may be our inherited or cultivated tendencies to wrong, we can overcome through the power that He is ready to impart. And we will finish with this paragraph. It's very important. The tempted one needs to understand the true force of the will. This is the governing power and the nature of man, the power of decision, of choice. Everything depends on the right action of the will. Desires for goodness and purity are right so far as they go, but if we stop here, they avail nothing. Many will go down to ruin while hoping and desiring to overcome their evil propensities. They do not yield the will to God. They do not choose to serve Him. And this is what is so important when dealing with intemperate people. They need to understand that God has given us the power of choice, and it is ours to exercise. We cannot change our hearts. We cannot control our thoughts, our impulses, our affections. We cannot make ourselves pure, fit for God's service, but we can choose to serve God. We can give Him our will. Then He will work in us to will and to do according to His good pleasure. Thus, our whole nature will be brought under the control of Christ. There is so much to be said to the ministry of intemperate. There's a lot of work to be done. And as the pen of inspiration just says, it could be very, very discouraging at times to work with people who have fallen very low in humanity through the drink and the drugs. But it's quite a mighty work to do. This chapter actually was written, Ministry of Healing is an older book than Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous was started in the 1940s. And it's sad to say, this church had the knowledge and the capacity to help the intemperate. But because we failed to do so, the Lord called people that were suffering with alcoholism to start actually Alcoholics Anonymous. But the steps are the same. The 12th step of AA, the 12th step of Way of Life, actually, our program, which we present in numbers 1317 and file number 2324, you will find them there. The steps to health are adapted with the permission of Alcoholics Anonymous. And this is where we can learn to teach people to turn their will and their life over to the care of God. That's the only way for them to become temperate and be restored to health. Never give the impression to these dear people that you can do it for them. You do not have that power. Bring them to Christ. Bring them to Christ and tell them they need to submit their will to Christ. Submit your will unto the Lord and resist the devil and he will flee from you. And this is the solution to deal with intemperate people. And you will get good result too. We have a natural remedy program specially prepared for intemperate people. And we have used it for depression, which we have presented already. But the one that we intend to show right now is the addiction program, 10-day cleansing program. And it's based again on the 12-step program of Way of Life. It's called Steps to Health. And it's identical to Steps to Christ. The little book Steps to Christ is absolutely marvelous in explaining how to bring sinners to conversion. And if you are really converted, you had to go to the same steps. Admit that you are a sinner, commit your will to God, and then submit it completely to Him, and He will be able to help you. 10 days cleansing program, alcohol, cigarette, drugs, medication, and many other addiction. There are people who are addicted to gambling, to sex, to many addiction that we don't even know of. We have the capacity to the power of God and the knowledge that we are given to help these people to be delivered. This method has been successfully used to help people with problems of alcohol, cigarette, drugs, medication abuse. We're talking drugs like cocaine and heroin here, not just the smoking of the pot. It's much more advanced than this, and it works. It has been many times experimented with, and it works beautifully. It's based on the 12-step program, which has been adapted to include a health program to cleanse the body from toxins assimilated at the level of the liver, kidneys, lungs, and any other organs and systems of the body. It involves a physical, mental, and spiritual approach, and it's geared to the whole person. To start, fill up the health evaluation, and as you answer the questions, find out which of the 8 laws of health you may have failed to follow by choosing one that may correspond to the question. There could be 2 or more laws involved. So for any practitioner who have a desire to work with intemperate people, you need to follow these bases. You need to always do the health evaluation first and pointing them to the 8 laws of health. Those are the doctors. Then when we go with the natural remedies, those are the nurses. So if you ever go to the medical system, you know you will never go to a nurse before you go to a doctor. The doctor will diagnose and the nurse will give you the cares. Follow those steps carefully and you will be successful in helping the intemperate people. And you will see them cleaning up, and it's beautiful to see. The program is based on the 10 days cleansing, which takes all of the 8 laws of health into consideration, and the 12 steps program. Of course, 10 days is based on Daniel chapter 1. It's a minimum cleansing program. And the program continues and continues for the rest of their life. And for an intemperate person, temperance is not enough. It has to be complete abstinence. A person who has drank or taken drugs or abused medication can never return to this. They're addicted. They stop being addicted by practicing this. They can be healed. But just like any other sin, when we go back to our sin, we're all sinners. We have all come short of the glory of the character of our Creator. And we cannot be 1 second, 1 quantrum of a second even, thinking that we can go back to our old sin and it won't be the same. This time we have more self-control. In sin, you don't have any self-control. Sin has to be completely avoided. Abstinence complete from sin. And it is true for the intemperate as well. So the basic schedule, as we have seen for depression, is drinking a lot of water. And that helps tremendously if you drink, and especially if you had the lemon juice and a pinch of cayenne pepper. People don't understand that particular recipe, but this recipe works very well. Lemon juice is acidic on the outside, but when you drink lemon juice or lemon with water, it will become actually alkaline. And in order to be healthy, we need to be alkaline. If we're acidic, we're sick. People with cancer or even less disease, they're acidic. So the idea is not to put them on medication. The idea is working through nutrition and natural remedies to bring back the pH to an alkaline pH, which is +7. And this way they will be restored to health. And fruits are acidic. Vegetables are alkaline. So in the case of helping people to change their pH, take note. You need to give them juice that are alkaline, which is vegetable. Carrot juice, beet juice, celery juice. These are alkaline juice. Where if you give them apple juice and any of the fruits that you know of, pineapple, those are acidic. However, lemon, which is in the family of citrus, is a miracle fruit which actually change pH when it enters the human body. And it does change the pH and readjust it to be alkaline. Shower and bath. Remember the neutral shower, starting first with hot water, as hot as you can take, don't burn yourself, for about 3 minutes, then switch to as cold water as you can take for about 30 seconds, and you repeat this 2 to 3 times. Hot and cold, and always finish with the cold. And always direct the shower head towards the base of the skull at the heel of the head by the occiput, and there is a kind of an entry there to the brain, and the lower area of the neck when using cold water. And it's also affecting the cerebellum area where you have the brain nerves and the body nerves that are meeting there. So that helps tremendously to activate the nerves, and it activates also the blood cell. So always start with warm and as warm as you can take, and always finish the shower with cold. And even if you do not want to do the 3 minutes, 30 seconds, you want to do it so that every day you still do the same procedure with your warm shower, always finish with as cold as you can take. And you will see a major difference with your brain nerves. You will be relaxed and increasing your blood cell. You will be healthier. It increases actually the immune system. Hydrotherapy is the best natural remedy to increase your immune system, to improve your immune system against any sicknesses. Every evening, always prepare a warm bath with essential oils that calm the nerves, and add 1 cup of Epsom salt. Epsom salt contains magnesium, which is good for you. Do not end with cold water at this time because you will never be able to sleep. You'll be too excited. Charcoal, every morning and evening, take a soup spoon of activated charcoal, mix in a glass of spring water. If you are on medication, drink charcoal 4 to 5 hours apart. If you take your medication in the morning, take the charcoal at noon. Or if you take it in the morning and at noon, take your charcoal in the evening. The powdered activated charcoal is the most effective as it adsorbs, and it's not a mistake, through the bloodstream rather than through the digestive system. Continue to drink 1 soup spoon of charcoal in water for the next 3 weeks after cleansing. Now, also an important instruction here, if you are dealing with people that have overdosed and there is no way for you to bring them to the hospital, you need to have a straw. You need to have them drink the charcoal with a straw. This way they will not reject it, and it will enter the system, and they will receive the cleansing. People who are semi-comatic, that's why they do that in hospital. They do not put it to the mouth to drink. They put it to the nose and insert it to a tube, and then it goes to the digestive system. But with a straw, it goes right to the bloodstream faster, and it cleanses the person, especially if you are dealing with an overdosing person. Now, nutrition. Remember, the raw food is the best nutrition during these 10 days of cleansing. Abstain from condiments such as ketchup, mustard, relish, vinegar, pickle, salad dressing with vinegar, and mayonnaise. For those of you who do not know the chemistry of vinegar, vinegar is acidic salicylic acid. It's actually an acid, and people love vinegar because it's an acid. It's actually the lower pH in chemistry of acid. It's vinegar. But it is not good for you, and especially people who drink alcohol. The next day you will notice they smell like vinegar because that's what happened to alcohol in your body. Avoid all deep fried food during and following cleansing. Eat plenty of green vegetables and fresh fruits. We're not going to make you a vegan while you're having your cleanse, but it's better than having the meat mixed into it. Something you may not know, beside vegetable being alkaline, meat as a protein that is actually acidic. It is not alkaline, and that's what makes the people so sick. Vegetable and any fruits that have actually, some fruits have alkaline pH as well, and those you can have the protein from it, then you will be fine. Nuts, for example, have protein, and they are alkaline. They're not acidic. Cooked cereals and bread can be eaten during the 10 days if necessary. Use only unrefined flour and whole grains. Once a day, prepare 10 ounces of carrot juice. Organic carrot juice are sweeter. And add juice of 1 small onions or half of a larger one, and juice of 2 small garlic cloves or 1 large one. One thing also with onions, it will cleanse you from parasites. And it would be well if you were to add, it's not indicated in this, but usually we also give the famous oil for this is the castor oil for cleansing parasites, because people who have lived on the streets and they have lived in terrible conditions definitely also have parasites. So when you continue with this particular treatment, you drink half an hour before main meal, and you do not drink anything with your meal. Always follow these rules. Exercise, fresh air, sunshine, these are all the wonderful doctors. Daily exercise is very important, such as walk, bike, or work in the garden at least 1 hour a day. This is the best, working in the garden. Breathe deeply and drink plenty of water. And put some lemon in the water as well. That will also continue to help you with your pH adjustment. Temperance. Special attention should be given to practice all of these principles faithfully and in balanced measure. Even eating of a good thing too much is overeating. Excessive exercising or taking more charcoal than needed is not recommended. More does not need better. Follow the instruction. Rest, 2 to 3 hours of rest before midnight are always more beneficial than many hours after midnight. You will recognize this particular method because we use it, as mentioned, for depression, any other cleansing as well. People don't have to be with addiction or depressed. It can work very well as well for sicknesses. Sleep at least 7 to 8 hours a day. Abstain from food 3 to 4 hours before sleep. Why? Because the stomach does not digest vertically. You have to be horizontal in order to digest your food, meaning you have to stand up. If you suffer from insomnia, drink a hot cup of herbal tea 1 hour before retiring to bed. Chamomile, vervain, or valerian are excellent. Trust in God. This 10-day program has been set up as a holistic program where we care for the body, mind, and soul. This is what Mrs. White mentioned in Minister of Healing, which we just read. This is a body, mind, and soul sickness. When you deal with addiction, those people are not addicted just in the body or in the mind. It's also in their own soul. Body, mind, and soul, meaning whatever we are a living soul. It is based on the 12 steps, as mentioned, of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it has been adapted with their permission. The whole basis of the Way of Life program is to care not only for the body, but also for the mind. If you were to adapt this program and include the 12-step program, which we have in numbers 1317, you will see such a major difference than just simply working with the natural. Also, we recommend very, very highly, here we say the book Serenity, but we recommend very highly for every one of your clients to read Steps to Christ. It's a book that actually repeats the very 12 steps of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And conclusion, this program is usually, or this protocol is finished with a Russian bath and complete body massage. So here we refer you to the 12 step. It's actually file number 24, and we're going to click to it just to show it to you because it's right here and we're finished with the presentation. And here we are, numbers1317.org, and this is file number 24. And again, we encourage you, it has a number of pages of it where we give you the 12-step program with the purpose of the 12-step to health. And any practitioners who wants to start a 12-step program are invited to do so. All the material is here. And step by step, you take the people to those steps. We have also slogans that we encourage the people to study and practice 1 day at a time. Easy does it. By the grace of God, it's very spiritual. Alcoholic Anonymous and Al-Anons and Al-Teens are program. Al-Anon and Al-Teens is for families and children of alcoholics and friends of alcoholics. The people who follow Al-Anon and Al-Teen do not have a drinking problem, but they live with a drinking problem, and it affects them just the same. And Al-Anon and Al-Teen teaches people that are living with alcoholism in their home or in their family, or if you have a friend that affects you with this disease, it will teach you ways to cope with alcoholism and ways to learn to respect and love these people, because number one, they're not crazy. Number two, they're not willfully means under the effect. They're simply addicted, and you need to be very patient, and you could actually help them by your very change of attitude. And these people are very sensitive, very perceptive. They can almost read your mind when you hate their alcoholism, and sometimes you hate the person. So you have to be very well trained to work with alcoholics and drug addicts, because they do have a will, but their will has been turned to the wrong. It has been turned to the enemy of soul, and he wants to destroy them. Alcoholism and drug addiction, in my personal experience, is the worst of all the disease you can deal with. It's a disease. It's a disease of the mind, the body, and everything is affected. It's a dis-ease, body, mind, and soul. And unless you learn how to cope with it, you will not make it. You need to learn how to cope with that disease. You need to have quite a bit of knowledge and prayer and stay close to God to not get discouraged. It's one of the addictions is one of the worst disease you can deal with, because it encompasses so many area. They're not just drinking and taking drugs, and they're into very bad habits. And so you need to really know what you're dealing with. And like Mrs. White says, and she's right, you're dealing with demons, very much like demons, especially when they are under the effect. And here, personally, we're talking with experience. So may the Lord bless you as you continue your walk, wanting to help these people, and don't bring it as you're wanting to help them. You'll find out very soon that they're helping you too. It's a work of patience. It's a work of humility. And having worked with clients that had cancer and many diseases, alcoholism and drug addiction is probably, I wouldn't say the most difficult, but I would say the most engaging disease to work with, because the people do not necessarily admit that they have a problem, so that makes it even tougher. So be patient, and if that's what you believe you're called to do, may the Lord bless you, and may He place His face to shine upon you and send you many angels to your help. And it's a great work.